Hi everyone, my name is Kevin and you're watching Learning Old Germanic Languages, Dharma in Old Germanic Languages. Now, before I even start this video, there's a link down below that'll explain to a video that'll explain what is Dharma. So if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say the word Dharma, please pause the video, click on that link, and then come back, because the rest of this video won't make any sense to you. Now that we're back, I hope those of you who didn't know what Dharma was actually watched that video, so from now on you guys would know what I'm talking about. Okay, now to translate that word into Old Germanic languages, it's quite tricky. It's quite tricky. Your best bet is to really go for what in each Old Germanic language what they would call nature. That's one way of going about it. But then at the same time, the thing is with Sanatana Dharma, or the eternal natural way, or eternal natural law, is that the thing is, yeah, there you are, eternal natural law, eternal natural way. How you word that in an Old Germanic language is okay. You know, I mean, you could literally translate, eternal natural law. That's fine too. Or you can just say way of nature, or just nature. I mean, they're all describing the same thing, right? I mean, that's the thing with Germanic languages, that there are many ways to say the same thing. And each Germanic language has its own nuance and how to express that. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind. All right, so. I don't think that in the case of Old Germanic languages, because of the advent of Abrahamism in Europe and whatnot, and how early the Germanic peoples were converted and whatnot, so a lot of words that we would have had weren't recorded and whatnot. It's only later, around later, like the time of King Alfred and this other German writer called Notker, or Notker, who King Alfred, he has and this Notker guy, they both have a translation of a text called Boethius's Consolation of Philosophy, and it's there we get the word in the case of Old English Gekund, and in Old High German Gekund. So, and these words both mean nature in the grand sense of the term. All right, so that's one way of going about it. But if you can formulate a way of saying natural law, eternal natural law, or eternal natural way, or what have you, however you can word that in an Old Germanic language, I think that's okay. Again, it's partly because we don't have a living tradition. Like how in the Vedic world you have this continuation and whatnot and whatnot, whereas with Germanic texts that we have, a lot of it's poetry, it's not philosophy, and there's a big difference between the two. Philosophy is very cut and dry and very clear, whereas poetry, it's very vague on purpose and whatnot, and unfortunately, if any form of philosophy came much later when it comes to Old Germanic languages, with Old English and Old High German. But yeah, that's something to bear in mind. So as far as pre-Christian philosophy and whatnot, in the Germanic world, there's little to none. I mean, one can argue the Havamal in the Old Norse sources. One could argue that maybe, but apart from that, there's really not much really at all. So that's something to bear in mind. And the thing is with a lot of the text that we have, sometimes you just got to think, maybe a poem is just a poem. A flower is just a flower. I say this because a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this too, we do a lot of mental speculation into this stuff, right? So anyway, sorry about the little tangent. So for Dharma in old Germanic languages, essentially, again, just, you know, however you can word it in any way you can, of eternal natural law or eternal natural way, natural law, what have you, in X old Germanic language or whatnot. I mean, it's all describing the same thing. You know, water is wet, Wasser ist nass. Whether say that in English or German, it's still the same thing, right? Yeah, a little word change here and there, but I mean, it's still the same thing that we're talking about, right? So with that in mind, you know, the same can be said for the many ways you can describe, you know, Dharma in old Germanic languages, right? You know, because thing is, nature is complex, right? Well, so is describing Dharma in old Germanic languages, and there are many ways to do it. You know, so that's the beauty of it too. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you're new. And if you really like the channel, please become a patron at my Patreon page down below. My name is Kevin, and you're watching Learning Old Germanic Languages. Take care.